More than 500 million people to a grinding and sweltering halt. CNN's Brian Todd has details. Brian, what's happened?
Well, Joe, Indian officials say it's likely that the demand for power in India went way up in a very short period of time, possibly because farmers in the northern part of the country, with a lack of rainfall there, spiked their use of electric water pumps. Now, Indian officials say power there has largely been restored, but this blackout has caused huge problems in India and left many on this side of the world to wonder, could it happen here? In a word, crippling. Two massive cascading power failures in India over the course of 2 days leave up to 600 million people without electricity, almost double the entire U.S. population. Road and rail traffic brought to a halt, millions sweating it out in searing heat. Could the U.S. experience a similar catastrophe where half the population is out of power at once?
We wouldn't take it as well as they did. Operating closer and closer to the edge of collapse.
Masood Amin, an electrical engineering professor at the University of Minnesota, says the kind of calamitous blackout that India experienced is unlikely in the U.S., but possible. America, he says, has undergone a similar breakneck expansion of people who rely on power.
The demand for electricity continues to increase, even with a slow economy. Just tweeting, use of video streaming, use of digitization of data and records is part of the growth. We are experiencing about 1% growth of load in the US a year. The infrastructure expansion has not kept up with that demand.
Amin says the American power grid, once called the greatest engineering achievement of the last century, is wearing out. Policymakers and power companies, he says, have not been able to agree on plans to spend more money to upgrade the grid. He points out no one wants a new power station in their neighborhood, so America hasn't been able to add capability and redundancy to the system. As a result, Amin says, backup systems, shock absorbers he calls them, have been shaved down, leaving the U.S. more vulnerable to overusage episodes, extreme weather events like the recent storm in the mid-Atlantic, and to cyber attack. Amin says the number of large-scale outages affecting 50,000 or more customers at a time doubled in the U.S. between 2000 and 2005. I posed all that to David Owens from a group representing power companies. What about the argument that the grid is antiquated, that we have not spent the money to upgrade it, and that it's more and more vulnerable to severe weather, cyber attacks?
Just pay us more.
Well, let's deal with the first issue. We are spending.
Where'd you come from?
In 2000,
I got my
own
plan.
Example, from 2001
to
no 2010, we have spent over $77 billion in upgrading our overall energy delivery system. That's very significant.
Owens says the U.S. will spend an additional $50 billion over the next 3 years to improve America's power grid, Joe. He says the investment is there.
Right. And a lot of people know the U.S. has a power grid, and the big question for us is it different from India's or part and parcel of the same?
There are significant differences, and David Owens points out that, in India, the 5 grids there are not all interconnected. I think 4 of the 5 are, but there's one that's not connected. So that's a key difference. In the U.S., there are 3 main power grids. They're all closely connected to each other. He says in India, they don't have the supply, the consistency of supply to the grids that they have in the United States. And a key difference also, in India, they do not have the policing and monitoring agencies kind of connected to the U.S., connected to the government that exist in the U.S. Here, they have an agency that does that and can really kind of keep close tabs on where the trouble spots are.
Brian Todd, thanks so much for that.
Okay, now me, if I could ever, first of all, I was trying to get a job, then I ended up in the hospital, and now I'm trying to recover, but nonetheless, excuse me, if I could get my little system, lithium-ion battery pack, and a turbo diesel generator downstairs, I'd not only be able to make enough power for blackouts, I'd actually probably make $1 or $2 each month. But I ain't got a job, and nobody's even calling to hire me to deliver pizza, to deliver tasty cakes. They certainly don't want to manage a store, although I was very good at it. Jeez, really, I can't even work right now. I ran into a brick wall. Jeez, like I knew that was coming, right? I didn't.